great point. That's really good information. So what she was talking about is something that in the investment world that is known as due diligence. So due diligence is going to be done through the portal, as she said. They're going to make sure that everything is legit, that the management team is good, that they have some experience, that they've done these things before. So as an investor, you always want to do your due diligence as well. The more you research and the deeper that you research into what it is, the more understanding that you get from it. And that's what you really want, because you're putting your money in here. Your hard-earned money is being invested. So you want to make sure that, that the people, the management team is really good, that the idea is good, that the idea is sound. And all of that is going to require that you do some research into the market, into the industry. And see who the customers are, see if the customers are really there, if they're going to be there. A lot of times, as we were talking earlier, people have really good ideas, but they don't have the skill sets necessarily to execute those ideas. A good friend of mine always says that business is more than a notion. That it takes a lot of work for business. It takes a lot of work to become successful. And it takes a long time. Also investment, you're not necessarily thinking about, making huge profits really quickly. Sometimes it takes time for a project to develop. It could take a couple of years for a project to develop, and whatever that exit opportunity looks like. So when you think about investing, you have to think about investing for the long term. So I would always say 5 years or longer is what you would be looking at with your investments. And as you profit from your investments, it is vital that you reinvest those profits to keep that money growing over time. A lot of times, I guess if you make some money, you want to spend that money, but unless that is, unless you were like saying investing to create your business 5 years down the road, something that's going to continue to make you money. We always have to think about purchasing assets that are going to increase in value, or in equity or in debt, that are going to pay us some type of interest payment. We always have to think about how are we going to continue to grow our money? How are we going to continue to take our income and turn that into wealth?
Right.
Wealth is something that is intergenerational. If I have a really good job, I can't necessarily leave my job to my children. But if I build a business or I have an investment portfolio, that's mine. I own it. And, I can leave that to whomever, to my children. I can leave it to, community organizations, whomever I like to, when I'm gone. So when we talk about, investing, building wealth, and creating legacy, those are things that probably aren't talked about a lot in our community, but they're things that we have to begin to think about and to understand as we move forward in our understanding of crowd investing.
Right, and apply them. Once we're comfortable with them, we have to be willing to apply them. We can be a little bit standoffish for whether it be experience, whether it just be not being comfortable or just not knowing. So, ask around, ask people, okay, have you heard of crowd investing? Look up, the Jobs Act and some of the things that were, signed in that time frame. Understand that, this is an opportunity that wasn't available before. And now that it's available, once you've done your due diligence, you can definitely take advantage of it. And, and I like to use the example of the $100 in a month. If you're a coffee drinker and you go out and you get a cup of coffee every morning for $2 to $3, before you know it, you've spent that $100. And you've had coffee for it. Yes, you've enjoyed the coffee, but that $100 didn't really return you anything. So for the price of, for coffee every day for 30 to 31 days, you can actually invest in an opportunity that will bring you, that will provide you some form of return. And depending on the length of the debt, depending on the length of the opportunity, it can be a more long-term investment. That $100 can pay off, within 10 years, it can pay off, a nice little lump sum. So, and depending on the opportunity. Now, this is not to say that these are guaranteed. This is going to happen. This is not to say that we're making any any promises or anything. But investing is can be risky for everyone involved. So that's part of the disclaimer. so there's no guarantees in investing, but you have to take some form of risk in order to actually be able to attain that. Because if you don't take the risk, you won't know. So for the price of a cup of coffee, you can say, you know what, I'm going to put this $100 in this particular business, in this property, in this development, and this can actually lead to something more substantial further on down the line. Or it may not. But in the end, you still you took that risk, and for the most part, we're going to make sure that the risk is going to be a reward as opposed to a loss. But that's what we have to do as by the block, is to make sure that we're minimizing your risk as an investor.
Did you know that 1/3 of all activity online is spent viewing videos, and that a potential customer is 64% more likely to use your product or service after viewing a video? If you're not utilizing video, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. We are a professional video creation company and would love to share more about how our commercials can help you grow your business and increase your profits. We look forward to helping you get more sales and customers.